Right. Well, it's about to get spicy. I was not expecting that injunction to go through.
You were not?
No, not the kind that went over. Yeah, she's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pretty serious charges.
Yeah. Yeah. Um.
Very serious, actually.
Yep.
That's a lot of money. More than the jetpack incident.
Well,
Yeah,
the only
that's,
reason that Pred did not get charged with it is because the individual who filed it was lazy as shit. They filed a civil action against him in which they did not underline the crime of embezzlement or whatever. And as a consequence of that, there was no charge by which they could levy the money coming back, right? So had they filed criminal charges, Pred likely would have lost the jetpack and then likely would have gotten impeached. That is not the case in this particular one. Not to mention these are multiple occurrences.
Yeah, Wes has done a hell of a job.
Agreed.
Yeah, I looked through it all. That was really good. That's some crazy work from. Is Wes still a PPO? That's some crazy work
Yeah,
from a
he
PPO.
is. Not for long, I'm sure, but I mean, everybody who was involved had a finger in it. Wes was definitely the one who led the charge and put everything together. So, I think we have a pretty stout case.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be good. A little bit of transparency. I may actually file a motion to that docket posting in which she is still able to review and approve or have some kind of process that doesn't stall the all of San Andreas. That's one thing that I think was sort of missed in that ruling. We cannot have the government powerless. I think they should give the deputy mayor the approval temporarily. I'm unsure why that wasn't done.
I don't know how that works exactly, but I assume it would. He'd be the acting interim.
It should but it should per Blaine County.
Has to be said, right?
Sorry.
It has to be bestowed on him, right? He has to be assigned that by the DOJ, or is that an automatic?
I believe it is. Let me look it up right now. And let me see. What color is Blaine County? Oh, yellow. There we go.
Orange, yellow.
Protocols and procedures. Scraps guideline. Wheel clamp. Wait, did they get rid of it?
Blaine County Authority account, mayor's procedures and protocols. No, that's the account.
Well, they got rid of their positions. Wait, they did actually. Wait, they didn't. They got rid of that? There used to be legislation about like who empowers or whatever. Knighthood, Collins Bench Act.
Final for West is just can he perform in like the driving stuff, right?
Paid legislation. Facility legislation. Wheel clamp. Scraps guideline. I could have sworn it was in here unless they got rid of it.
I had Wes stated the other day. So essentially, it was a legislation that stated who was employees of Blaine County, right?
Yeah, I could have sworn that was in there. It may have been.
Wes said he saw that.
He did.
It is somewhere still. Yeah.
What the fuck?
We looked for a specific person or involvement, and he said that person's no longer on there. So I'm assuming that he was able to find that.
Let me see. Is Charles Danger not the deputy anymore?
To our understanding, he was.
Oh, he is. Mayoral staff. Yeah. Okay. I'm emailing him right now. Yeah, so that's one thing that's going to be coming. Obviously, we can't have the state of San Andreas come to a halt. That would be dangerous. I think the deputy mayor or alternatively, Princess should be the one that there should be something in play to allow for some level of movement, even if it's just financials that are temporarily halted. Agree or disagree?
No, I would agree. Absolutely.
Okay.
Is there not something that's automated in the sense of, if the acting or the mayor, the current mayor,
No.
is impeached or steps down, there's no automatic transition of power?
If there's an impeachment, it would cause a new election. There was a lot of desire for like election reform. I specifically haven't sorry, I'm trying to like think through my thoughts. There was a desire for like election reform and these things to be put out. Well, there was some desire for it, but not enough. So we never actually did it. But yeah, probably something like that is probably needed at some stage. But let's talk about food stalls. I do think West should be in as a part of that conversation. I don't want legislation to get slowed down, just transparently. I personally don't have necessarily a problem with her signing, let's say, state legislation, or alternatively someone in her stead doing something along those lines. Not that these things couldn't be done via referendum anyways, because that is a option that has always existed. It's just not one that has been inherently exercised. But let's crack open into these stalls, and then we can perhaps weigh in Wes's thing on this, because I don't want him to come blindsided when I throw that gauntlet down.
Absolutely.
So the stalls. I got a call yesterday from and this name should remain between us until he says otherwise. From Benji Ramos, who stated that the Slime Shack is being targeted by McGregor. Now,
Okay.
the thing here is Benji isn't really one to handle problems in this fashion. So this is abnormal, right? He is someone whom, hey, grab some coffee and you and I got to chat.
Where do you want to chat?
I'll give you a call. I'm just getting done with the chief here. And
I'm
then
gonna
we'll link up.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. Just let me know.
All right. Take care. Bye. Benji is someone that tends to sort of handle situations himself. I'm sure you're aware. And leaning towards the mayor's office or the law enforcement is not something he tends to do. So as a consequence of him bringing that up to me, it makes me believe that there's credence to it, right? That's, the first, let's say, stake. The second is the day of the stall, stuff getting reset or whatever. I believe it was on the 16th. McGregor actually sent a twat out stating that these stalls were renewed by the same people, and if I don't see the stalls open, I'm going to start killing their employees. Something along those lines. I got to take a look. I'm pretty sure I took a photo of it. Now, at the time, when I had seen that, in the back of my mind, I'm like, McGregor's like a fucking, like a 1 IQ dog. You know what I mean? he barks and pisses wherever the first thing he sees. So, knowing his history, which I'm not sure how familiar both of you guys are, it is. I was expecting him to do something, but then with this Benji conversation, I'm like, okay, there's some credence to it. Thirdly, I had actually witnessed myself just driving by, going through that place getting targeted, Slime Shack. They tend to be open like late shift 2 into shift 3. My concern is that Benji told me that they have been hitting that place multiple times a day. And to the extent that he's calling me because his workers they see no purpose of working. I don't want this to get conflated with someone getting taken hostage from over there, because it's like 1 out of like 25 people.
Right.
But you start targeting a stall.
Targeting different
now
stores.
all of a sudden it's a complete, exactly. These people are going to stop working, right? Whether it's Slime Shack or whether it's another place. And if they do not lean on shit, do you guys have any food? Speaking of,
I do not. Do you?
No.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find some here. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Should have some around here.
Dang. Well, I guess I'll wait for the chief. Is this just like you think this is an excuse to just like hit the gang? Because I know they were beefing.
I think there's
stuff.
some relationship to it, but McGregor's kind of
Opal's gonna try to grab you some here right now.
beautiful. So my concern is that they've already gotten hit multiple times, right? And they stop working. That stalls rip. Like Slime Shack, from what I've seen when I am up late, is like they're like the only one around that time, pretty consistently. And I don't want to see that behavior sort of migrate into other stalls as well, because this is, quite frankly, the last bastion of civilians. They're the only ones that work the stalls, and it's their primary mode of making money. Everything else, whether it's tow or whatever, it's not a thing. And secondly, it would be unfortunate that these stalls that are likely primarily owned by different gangs or whatever, or their affiliations, them taking matters into their own hands is not going to be good either. So I did underline that Benji did tell me that he talked to some justices, and they said that there isn't much that they can do to stop it or something like that. And there is no charge for it. I don't know who Benji spoke to. He doesn't remember. But there is the targeted there's a particular charge called
it's targeted violence, 1st and 2nd degree.
Correct. With with 5 or more incidents leading to a hag.
3 or more.
3 or more for the felony, 5 or more for the hag.
But both of these are hags.
Yeah, they're
Both
of them
how?
don't
felony
have
and the hag charge.
Yeah,
Wait,
there's a
is it?
misdemeanor hag.
Yeah, they're both 0-0.
Oh shit! Why is it yellow?
So I guess one's a felony, one's a capital.
Thank you so much.
Catch and release. Both are technically felonies.
That is.
A catch and release. What do you mean catch and release? You mean bail?
Like, they don't-
essentially.
No, they don't go on bail. They don't go on hag. You catch him. You post a docket. It's the same as
Thank you.
I think drug trafficking is also a catch and release. You catch him for it, and then you post on the docket about it, but you don't actually. They don't go on bail. They never go on a hag hold.
Where's
They
that
just-
entailed? Is that entailed anywhere?
No, that's just how catch and release goes.
It's just an unwritten rule.
Kind of. It's because it's not falling under the,
Heinous
yeah.
Guidelines Act. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I guess for this one, you would just add this on to the charges of.
That
I mean,
sounds
it's
so
like-
counterproductive. You got people
What-
attacking individuals or
What
a
charge are
group
we,
or
uh,
civilians.
Targeted violence.
So you have somebody targeting these people, and then we catch them and release them and put it on the docket. It sounds like we're not stopping them. To be honest
Yeah,
with you.
well,
I mean, that's nobody's fault
Are
here.
we stopping them if they go on a hag? Not really. They can just keep doing it if they want to.
I guess they're gonna go on bail, right?
Well, yeah, but even on bail, like, people do dumb shit all the time just because they feel like it.
I
And
just
then
put on
even
a
after
mask
they
and
get
try
charged,
harder.
you know.
And I just feel like some of these people should be locked up till their court date. But that's
well, I mean, that's what would
specifically for something like this
happen,
where you're
right?
Attacking civilians.
Well, technically that would happen, and that would get resolved, because let's say somebody went and attacked one of these people 3 times, right? And they were released pending their court date, right? Wait, first off, let me make sure I'm not misspeaking here. Where is the hag one? Just want to double check to make sure it's not in the list, which I don't think it is.
I think first degree is because it's a it's a capital offense, but I don't think it's in the hag.
Is it under due
Is that under
process?
due process? Yeah, it's under due process here. Yeah, first degree is a hag.
Oh yes, yeah.
And the
It's
other
in the
one
capital,
is
right? That's why it's
is
red.
what?
I guess
It's
they
a
catch and release.
Same as like drug trafficking.
That seems so odd because you hit criteria for the second degree before you hit first degree. Well, I guess if you don't catch them every time you document it, yeah.
But how do you? So you file the So I think what you would do, and this is probably going to need clarity because this seems very odd. I don't know why there's a first and second. I know that this is all just a rewording of the Rust Act from 7 years ago when Rooster's Rest was getting attacked. But what is the intention here? Okay, you do second degree, and then if you catch them 2 more times, well, you're actually building, you then refile as first degree with a continuance, and you upgrade the charge to first degree with a motion.
Am I dumb, or that sounds really double
That
jeopardy?
sounds-
If you're already
that
being
sound-
prosecuted for the first 3, and then you're being prosecuted for 2 more, but you've already been prosecuted for the first 3, it just sounds
Well, you
weird
have
as
it.
fuck.
Well,
It
you
should just be
wouldn't.
one charge.
But you wouldn't be prosecuted, right? Because, well, there's 2 things. One is if you were in theory prosecuted for 3, and then within that same 30 days did another 2, it's not, given the fact that, actually you would be in that case. But what
charge for the same,
yeah. But what I was suggesting here, actually, that's an unknown question, actually, because technically, if you murdered somebody, you got charged. You murdered somebody, you got charged. You murdered someone again, and you got charged. You can then, as a part of that third, get these serial assaults and killings. So it wouldn't be double jeopardy. But even then, taking that off the table, what I was suggesting here is, let's say you caught someone 3 times, you put it up on the docket. Before that case saw the light of day, they committed 2 more of those incidents. You can then motion to add evidence for the new incidents and get the upgraded charge. Just because it's going to court doesn't mean like everything else is on pause. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, 100%.
But either way, this is something that I think is very. I'm going to be honest with you. If this is truly happening, and I believe it is, I think this might be the most serious investigation to be looking at right now. I know you guys are dealing.
I came in late. Is this about food stalls?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. I understand that there's like gang-related shootings, this and that, but they're killing each other. Like, this is going to sound like an odd argument, but I don't think it is. These motherfuckers are killing each other. These are our last bastion of civilians getting farmed for someone's dumb fuck ego, right?
I agree. Yeah, I mean, the criminals are going to shoot each other, but when they go to senior buns and start shooting the civilians, that's another thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I feel like, some of these food stalls, they obviously have felons working for them, but I feel like that makes no difference, because they're still there providing a service to the entire community by providing them with food.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely do think this should be a priority. We should think about putting up cameras, like, around the food stalls that are specifically being targeted.
Yeah, this particular thing is happening late shift 2 into shift 3. That's
Oh,
gonna be a challenge. Not to say that it's not happening around now either, right? But let's be clear. Let's be straight here. Like most of the stalls that open now are gonna be Hydra's, Bestie's, and mine, and I don't think anyone's stupid enough to do something like that. You know what I mean? It gets a little bit different later in the evening. And
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? Like these guys. Now, you did bring up that does this have something to do with the Hades and Exodus? These are Benji's own words, so take them for what they are. Is that McGregor seemingly is doing it on his own accord, and he's unsure if he's using it as a means to like get Hades to like react and fight Exodus. I don't believe that. I think it's just McGregor doing it his own volition, because McGregor, once again, is kind of a bit of a rabid dog, and Ray cannot keep his people in control. Never has, never will. Great guy, love him, you know, but he's going to let his people do what he wants, and so if McGregor's doing dumb shit, he's going to let him do it, but it doesn't necessarily relate to the entire crew. So,
I mean, I don't know if it's controversial, but I don't really give a fuck if a member of a gang who doesn't have a criminal record, or maybe even does have a criminal record, if they're working at a food stall, I really don't give a fuck if they're in a gang war and that's why they're getting shot. You're targeting a civilian business, right? Because it's owned by a civilian 90 times, right? So like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
I don't really give a fuck if they're in an active gang war. You're coming to a business and shooting the
enough
place
with the
up.
language, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it's one thing when you're, caught in the streets, whatever, gangs, I mean, we respond to gang fights every day, but I mean, everybody's got to eat, so someone's got to work the stall. If you're messing with them, that's like critical infrastructure.
What was that?
I mean, at that point, it's kind of probably couldn't charge them with it. That's borderline like terrorism.
Enough
You're
with the
shutting down
language.
important infrastructure to keep the city running.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So if we can get someone around like to head this up, that'd be fantastic. Yeah. The other option that was proposed on the table is getting a higher charge for like effectively like a kidnapping or attempted murder of an essential worker, which is something I'll certainly consider, but I would not want to make such a decision without there being high monitoring of what exactly is going on over there, right? So I'm going to suggest something, is that if y'all had your internal investigation stuff, right, and you linked all your references to all the shit that's happening with stalls, how often it's happened, what's happening, you know what I mean? Something that, some little bit of data, right? Like, whether it's the RP unit that's doing it or whatever, I can then at least leverage that to make a good decision, right? In other words, if we have police truly responding to these things, which I understand there's hesitation around it, it makes it easier for me to pass legislation one way or another. Am I making sense here? Or
Yeah, that shouldn't be hard. We'll get hostage statements, and we can tell them to add the senior buns tag if there's if hostage was taken from senior buns. If they were a food stall worker.
Sure.
Just make sure we get them that in the statements if they're a food stall worker.
And I think the difference between like taking hostage versus the people, someone was shot here to the entire stall was shot up. Those distinctions are very important, because we could go put a charge in, right? We already have targeted violence, but if we're not getting the adequate response to it and the detailing of it, then it doesn't matter anyways, right?
Yep. We
Okay.
can if we want to push a law, we can easily justify it with the hostage stuff at the very least.
Yep, 100%. Okay, cool. Anything else in regards to that?
I have no further on that one right now.
All right, easy.
Who wants to head this up? Do either you want to head it up or?
I can. This is obviously a late shift 2 thing, so
Yeah.
I was gonna see about talking to Frodo about it to see, because he's kind of the shift 2 RPU person that I've been kind of leaning on. Hadn't been able to talk to him that much, especially since I just got back.
Is he a
But,
closer?
He did that. He headed up that I don't know if he headed it up, but he got a lot of stuff from that dam incident, when the terrorism dam thing. He helped a lot with that.
Okay, but is he a
So-
closer? Has he gone to the docket?
I don't know, to be honest. I'll ask
That
around.
means he's
I'll
probably
talk
not the
to
right
Ruby.
guy. And I need a
We'll figure out someone.
okay, beautiful. Like Wes is a
Find someone
closer,
shift 2.
right? Opal's a closer. People
I
can be
mean-
nice and look into things and take their magnifying glass out and they can shove it up their ass if it's not going to the docket, right?
I mean, to be honest, as long as the incidents get documented, which they get targeted, it doesn't even matter really if I'm around or if Jeb's around, if Wes is around. It doesn't really matter because we just have to look at them and we can push it to the docket if no one else will. As long as
Easy.
these people are being prosecuted and shit, anyone can push it to the docket, right? We look at it, we talk to the people involved, and then we push it to the docket. It doesn't really, have to be us around for every single incident.
You say that, Opal, right? But I want to be able to go to Turner and be like, what's going on? And like, okay, so for example, right? Like some shit's going on right now with the, 911 calls or whatever. Turner knows that he can call it Jeb, what's going on with it. And with the senior buns thing, it needs a head, right? You need a stake.
Mhm.
If there's no stake, no head, no voice on what's going on and what the status is, and someone who's like focus is going to be that investigation, it's not going to get anywhere, right?
Jeb, we could probably speak to Gravy and Autumn. They're late shift 2 into shift 3. Autumn is
Yeah.
shift 3, but
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
Gravy's perfect,
Um,
actually.
yeah, he's a perfect guy, and Hope is a paperwork nerd, so.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right.
We'll get it
Easy.
sorted out.
All right. Anything else we want to discuss? I think we covered everything, to be honest. I got engines out the ass right now, so if you guys need anything on discount, CVPIs, I know that you didn't want to pay for engine upgrades there, Turner, but please do let everybody know that they get their shit real cheap. Like, we got discount stuff, so even minor upgrades, you'll probably get something for $25,000, $50,000, you know what I mean?
All right, sounds good. You want them sent directly to you, or you want it on the document?
Yeah, but I think the document's probably the easiest way, because then I can just get you guys like a load of engines and just dump them.
Let me see. I've told quite a few people. Let me see if anybody's put anything on there.
Okay.
No, I don't see any engine requests
That's crazy.
at all.
I'm gonna give you a secondary because I think part of the reason is that most people, and we've discussed this before, want the stage 4s, want the stage 5s, want the yote, want the shirt eye, because they're looking at like the peak stuff, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much intermediate stuff that is significantly better. Not better, but like 80% of the way, 90% of the way, but significantly less in cost. In combination with that, engine bays have been altered a couple days ago. So what that means is certain cars that could not fit bigger engines now can. That means certain vehicles can now fit yotes when they previously could not. And 1.6 like 1.6 like size engines, millimeter, I don't know, whatever the fucking metric is, can now start fitting 2 liter engines. The point there being that there's a lot that's changed in the engine space, so that may change y'all's like equation. I think I'd like to get 2 or 3 of your police vehicles stripped down and put under my name. And I can do some testing for you.
All right.
Like a stripped down CVPI, stripped down SUV, whatever, like 2 or 3 of them are. And what we can do is, I got a couple people. We're going to be doing this with other cars too. We're going to be dropping engines in them and seeing where things are relatively, so the public, everybody can have a better idea. Because I don't think the knowledge is out there. I don't think anyone really knows. People are skipping out on what could be some really good shit, like the W16s or the
Yeah, let me. When do you want to do that?
whenever, I'll just fucking buy them up, you know what I mean? We'll strip it down so that we'll document that, they're for testing purposes or whatever, and I'll run them this week alongside everything else.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll assign one officer with you, and they can help you move cars, move parts around, pull things out.
Okay. Oh yeah.
We can do that.
Right.
Just let me know ahead of time when, and we'll find someone to assign with you.
Could you get the vehicles arranged in advance, like so they're stripped down? This is so that they're like, make them white or something, and no light bar, no nothing. Just so if someone yoinks that shit, you're not having to deal with an emergency.